Good morning. Today's book is Pete the Cat in his 4 groovy buttons. Groovy, that's back from Grandpa's days. People would say that. I remember there used to be a thing down in Ocean Beach, is the OB Ranger. One of his sayings was, "Far out groovy and out of sight. I am the OB Ranger." Anyway, you can look that up on the internet. You'll probably find some of his adventures. I used to listen to that on the radio. Anyway, today's book, Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. To Trey and Destiny, always be honest, give more than you take, and follow your dreams. JD. To Zelda Lidwin, my mother, whose creative spirit nurtured my imagination. EL. Pete the Cat put on his favorite shirt with 4 big, colorful, round, groovy buttons. He loved his buttons so much, he sang this song. It's 4. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. Not much of a song. Pop! Oh no! One of the buttons popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? Ooh, sounds like a math problem. 3 are left. 4 minus 1 equals 3. We had 4. Now we only have 3 because we lost one. 3. Groovy. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He keeps on singing his song. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. He looks pretty excited, doesn't he? Pop! Oh no! Another button flying right off. Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? I think you can figure this one out. 2. 3 minus 1 equals 2. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. Oh, there's an ice cream cat with a cat in it. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? Looks like just one button, but he's got an ice cream now though. So, I'd rather have an ice cream than buttons. Did we miss a page? Oh, we did. How about that? 1! 2 minus 1 equals 1. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My button, my 1 groovy button. My button, my 1 groovy button. Notice there's no S on the end of it now because there's only 1. So it's not buttons, it's just button. Pop! Oh no! The last button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? His shirt's gonna fall right off. 1 minus 1 equals 0. It's a big 0. Did Pete cry? Goodness no. Buttons come and buttons go. Pete looked down at his buttonless shirt. Oh, what do you think he saw? His belly button. And he kept on singing his song. It's all good. My button, I still have my belly button. My button, still have my belly button. There's his belly button right there. He still looks so excited. I guess it simply goes to show that stuff will come and stuff will go. But do we cry? Goodness no. We keep on singing. Buttons come and buttons go. There's all the buttons. A whole bunch of buttons there. And there you have it, Pete the cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Except for he's only got 1 button left, and that's his belly button. Grandpa playing with his button. Anyway, what I did, you take a button, got 4 holes in it. You can see this or not. And anyway, on the 2 outside, 2 opposing holes, you put a string through it. And you make it look something like that. And anyway, to get it started, I think I might have my strings too long. But anyway, I do this better if I'm standing up, so you can't see my face while I'm doing this, or I can just kind of hold it up. We'll give it a shot. May not work. But you twirl it around like this here a whole bunch of times, and then you start pulling. Oh. I broke it. Anyway, you get the idea. You twirl it around a whole bunch of times, and then you start pulling on it, and it makes the button spin around in circles. Let me tie this real quick again. Maybe I'll make it a little bit shorter this time. Maybe it'll work better. But anyway, give it a shot here. Get it somewhere in the middle. Twirl it around a whole bunch of times. Oop. Get it started. No. I do it better standing up. You practice on it. Grandpa used to do this when he was a kid. We used to do a lot of things. We didn't have iPads or the internet or anything like that. We had things that we could make to play with, and once in a while we'd get a store-bought toy. Not too often. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the story today. It was about Pete the cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Anyway, Hope you learn some math too. Practice on that math. Take things. Take one away. See what you have left. Maybe even do it backwards and add something to it. And see if that makes sense to you. Maybe your mom and dad will help you out. Anyway, don't forget, Grandpa loves you, and have some fun. Bye-bye.